Hi everyone, today let's talk about AMD earnings. Then we'll go over the calendars, then we'll go over the charts, and you can see AMD here down quite a bit after hours, and NVDA falling a little bit as a sympathy play. Then we'll look at my results for the day and my thoughts going into tomorrow's session. Don't forget to check out the Patreon and the Twitter linked in the description. If you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos like this every single day that the markets are open as well as Sundays, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. So AMD revenue dropped 9%. The stock is not doing well. We already looked at the charts and it's going down. You can see shipments dropped 30% in first quarter, and that's definitely not what you want to see out of a growth company. In terms of earnings per share and revenues, they still beat on the top and bottom line, 60 cents compared to 56 expected, 5.35 billion versus 5.3. This was definitely not good enough for investors. But the CEO went on to say they expect strong growth in the PC sector in the second half of the year as the server market strengthens. It's worth mentioning that that was an adjusted earnings, and they actually had a loss of 9 cents per share, which was a pretty substantial step down from the 56 cents per share in the same quarter last year. And they finish up by mentioning their data center segment grew a very small amount. This was one of the faster growing sectors for them and had been driving a lot of revenue, and that's just not producing the same kind of growth anymore. You can see here PlayStation 5 also decreased, and overall sales in PC and server decreased 36%. Moving over to the economic calendar, you can see factory orders came in worse than expectations, but they were better than the previous read by quite a bit. JOLTS report also came down quite a lot, 9.59 million versus 9.775 million. So this continues to go lower. Previous read higher than this one. Expectations also higher than what we got. So it's interesting to see some softening here in the jobs market. Moving over to tomorrow, it's the big day, Wednesday, FOMC day. But to start off, you can see we have ADP non-farm employment, services PMI, ISM non-manufacturing, crude oil inventories, fairly interesting, but big one here, FOMC statement at 1400 Eastern Time, which includes the Fed interest rate decision, and then 30 minutes later we have the press conference. Moving over to the earnings calendar, you can see quite a lot of green here. BP missed on the top line. HSBC missed on the bottom line by quite a bit actually here, but still lots and lots of green. Pfizer did well, AMD did well with weak guidance, Starbucks did well, Uber Technologies also did well, Marathon Petroleum very well, Simon Property Group missed on bottom line, beat on the top, Welltower also missed on the bottom line but beat on the top, and Clorox continues to be rock steady here, beating on the top and bottom lines. Consumer staples continues to do quite well. Looking at tomorrow, there are a few to go along with the FOMC day. Qualcomm, Airbus, CVS, Estee Lauder, Kraft Heinz down here, a nice consumer staple. And then the ones that I talked about on the Sunday video that I liked, Realty Income Corp, Yum Brands, and then Barrick Gold, that's one that Warren Buffett likes. And then Allstate if you're interested in the insurance business. Moving over to the charts, I'm going to try to be a little bit quicker here. I feel like I've been talking a little too much on the charts, but looking at the S&Ps here on the hourly chart, you can see big leg down, got all the way back into the middle of this range, got below my 410.54 level, got just above it here and then closed right on top of it to the penny, stepping down on the 12-hour chart, momentum moving down, volume stepping up here today, definitely not what you want to see if you are bullish. Bounced off that 55 EMA here on the 12-hour chart, so certainly possible that we start to see this bounce tomorrow, but looking at this on the shorter time frame, it definitely looks quite bearish to me, and I would expect this to have more follow through to the downside. Again, watching to get below that 410.54 level, and then below that, watching 405.29 as my next level of potential support. We also have this trend line from this kind of bull flag setup that I was watching. Didn't quite get that today, but maybe we see that come through tomorrow. Overall bearish going into tomorrow's session. Moving over to the NASDAQ, similar thesis, big leg down, got below lots of EMAs and SMAs. We're below VWAP here on the hourly chart. Looking at the 12-hour, you can see the 21 EMA sitting here at 317.55, VWAP sitting at 318.79, just below where we are. We're below my support level, 319.60. You can see we bounced off the 200 SMA on the hourly chart, hit that level, hit that major trend line, and then we're rejecting from there. Below trend support, below my horizontal support, and I would expect this to go lower tomorrow in my opinion. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, you can see the Russell getting pummeled again here today. I think this is mostly due to regional banks seeing some pressure once again with that most recent collapse of First Republic. Through that level, my 174.38 level, and then tested my next level, 170.35, and then bounced here a little bit. We're below these trends, and I would expect a retest of this lower level, then come back and bounce and maybe retest some of these EMAs, and then we should get that bigger rejection. But you can see these levels are very important here on Russell. Same levels we tested back here in March. And if they do break down, there's going to be quite a bit of downside on the Russell. We talked about that in the Sunday video. Moving over to the Dow, you can see a similar thesis. Broke 339.11, came down, tested 335.91. We ended up closing above that level. If we get below it, I would expect more bearishness, coming down to 330.59, testing the 144 EMA and 200 SMA. And then my next horizontal support is down here at 329.40. So I would expect this to continue lower in my opinion. Moving over to Apple and Tesla, even Apple had a big leg down. Remember, they have earnings on Thursday. Came up, retested that trend line, and then held below it. Looks like we're moving lower, watching 167 for tomorrow. If we get above this trend line, potentially pushing back up to 170.90. Momentum, turning bearish. RSI, definitely bearish. Tesla threw some wicks to the upside, retested this previous high, and then broke back down from that level very quickly. We're below VWAP and the 9 EMA on the 4-hour chart, sitting just above that 21 EMA. If that level breaks, then I would expect this to at least come down and retest this previous low around 153.19. You guys know I've been super bearish here on Tesla. This looks very bad, and it looks like a consolidation before the next drop, and really my thesis hasn't changed. Moving over to Amazon and Etsy, you can see both of these ended up a little bit of a gain here. Amazon bouncing off the 144 EMA on the 4-hour chart, coming back up, retesting VWAP, got above my level, 102.50. Nice little move from 102.50 to 103.50. Definitely could have traded that. Getting rejection at VWAP, get below 103.50. Maybe we break back down to that $99 level. Momentum is moving in the bullish direction. RSI hitting that SMA. You'd like to see this break above the 50 line and then start to move higher if that's going to happen. I don't really think that's going to happen, but it's something you always have to pay attention to. Moving over to Etsy, similar thesis on the daily chart. Big green day, ended up posting a 3% gain off of that lower trend. Waiting to see this trend line break. If that happens, maybe we see some upside up to around 112.44 if we can get above that $100.50 level. Overall, this bullish falling wedge is still intact. Moving over to AMD and NVDA, you can see AMD has actually been falling for a while here. Found support at that 85.39 level, hit this area of highest volume at 89.87, wicked that upper trend line and then broke down here today. Looks very weak. If we get below that level, there's quite a bit of downside to around 78.60 or so. So about 1% of downside if we do break that level, in my opinion. NVIDIA also break down below this support line that I was watching. Looking at the 21 and 55 EMAs as potential areas of support. Area of highest volume, 269.92. And then below that, my trend support sitting down at 264.72. Moving over to staples and discretionary. Staples continues to be strong. We did have a big leg down, but it reversed almost that entire move all the way back up to VWAP at 77.28. We ended up closing here at 77.30, just below 77.50, but nice reversal leg. Certainly could go lower. So at this point, I'm looking neutral. Moving over to discretionary, similar thesis. Big move down, big move up off of that 200 and 144 EMA. So overall, same thesis here, still neutral as we continue to move in this range. Moving over to oil and gas and the energy sector, big legs down here today. Talked about this looking weak here as soon as it broke this previous level and my 83.55 level. Moved all the way down to my next level of support. We are still below that level. It did wick it here at 80.63. If it holds below this level, my next level will be 78.47. If we can get above it and hold, maybe we can come back up and retest. But right now, energy looks weak. Same thing here on oil and gas. I published this as a thesis and it's coming to fruition here. So we came back to that level. Then we rejected and we're moving lower, looking at 116.64, which is this previous low consolidation. Moving over to stocks above their 50 and 200-day averages, you can see we got an island reversal on the 50-day average, rejected from that level, hit the 55 EMA, and then bounced a little bit into the end of session. Overall, I would expect this to continue lower tomorrow. Classic move down, retest of the SMA on this RSI, and then move lower, crossing that 50 line. Overall, expecting this to move lower. Similar thesis on the 200, down move, retest, down move. And I'm expecting this to come through the 43.55 level down to 36.23. And then if it breaks this neckline and we get a move down to 24.25, that's going to be a pretty significant move down for equities. Moving over to the dollar here on the hour and the 12-hour. I post this on my Patreon this morning, how this was rallying, retested that 102.30 level, broke down from there, hit the 55 EMA on the hourly chart, still holding this trend line, still looks fairly bullish. Looking at the 12-hour chart, you can see how we hit that trend line, and we're still above the 9 and 21 EMAs. Those have crossed at this point. We're also above the 55 EMA. It does look like we're establishing a base and looking to move higher up to that 102.98 level. Moving over to JNK and TLT, you can see JNK made a low, retested that area that we talked about, hit both of those EMAs, got a little bit of a bounce. I would expect that to follow through here tomorrow down to 91 at some point. Momentum, RSI, both say bearish on junk. Moving over to TLT, we ended up getting a bounce from that 144 EMA on the daily chart. Quite powerfully, actually, moved from 103.15 all the way up to 105.70 at the close, down a little bit here after hours at that 200 SMA. But overall, quite a bullish day. Does make sense because the jobs report did come back weak, meaning that maybe we see a more likely case for a pause at the next Fed meeting and then eventually cuts later in the year. Moving over to the VIX, you can see we got a big spike today. Makes sense with the big move down. Talked about this divergence in the morning video. Ended up rallying super aggressively, got above 1850. Did end up falling into the end of session, but we're finding support here at the 200 SMA on the hourly chart. Daily chart showing bullishness coming, looking to cross above the 50 level. I would expect it to go much higher here tomorrow, expecting more downside in equities. Moving over to my accounts, looks like it already reset on my P&L for the day, which is definitely not true. I lost a little bit of money here in my IRA. That futures put that I had to get out of. Ended up losing about $70 on that position. Otherwise, looking at my individual account, I did actually make money here. I took off my puts early in the session as it started to look very negative, and then I sold some 317 and 16 puts as we started to rally a little bit. I did sell some 318 puts as well, but I took those off as it did look a little bit weaker going into the end of the session, so I was a little bit concerned I might get a test of that level, and I'm not looking to hold shares into tomorrow's session. So overall, did pretty well. Made a little bit of money, not a lot, but a little bit, and it's good to make money on a day where all the major indices are down quite a bit. Going into tomorrow's session, I expect to see lots of volatility, but overall, I'm still expecting markets to go lower. Let me know down in the comments section what you think of AMD earnings or the significant down move pretty much across the board here today. Definitely check out the Patreon and the Twitter if you want more up-to-date takes on the markets. And make sure you like and subscribe if you got any value out of today's video, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.